How to become your own best friend, the power of self-compassion. Hi there. Imagine this. Your best friend calls you in tears. She says she feels like a failure, that nothing is working out, that she's disappointed in herself. What would you say to her? Now think. What do you say to yourself when you feel the same way? Chances are, your inner voice sounds very different, right? Today, we're going to talk about how to be kind to yourself and why it's just as important as professional help. You don't always need a therapist. Let's be clear. Therapy is important. If you feel like you need professional help, please reach out to a specialist. But in everyday life, when we're facing ordinary struggles, there's a lot we can do for ourselves. We often think support only comes from others, friends, family, therapists. But one of the most accessible sources of support is already within us. It's our own voice, our capacity for self-compassion. Studies show that people with strong self-compassion skills cope better with stress, have more stable self-esteem, and are less prone to anxiety and depression. A simple yet powerful question. There's one question that can completely shift your relationship with yourself. What would I say to a friend if she felt the same way? This works because we treat friends with understanding and care. We don't criticize them for mistakes or tell them they're not good enough. We comfort them, reassure them, and remind them of their strengths. But when it comes to ourselves, we often become our harshest critic. How we talk to friends versus how we talk to ourselves. When a friend is upset, we might say, "This is a really hard situation. I understand why you feel this way. You're doing the best you can under tough circumstances. Remember how you handled something similar before? Everyone makes mistakes, it's part of life." Now compare that to how we talk to ourselves. "I'm such a failure. How could I mess this up? Everyone else is doing better than me. I never get anything right. I should have known better." See the difference? Compassion for others, cruelty for ourselves. Why we're so hard on ourselves. Many of us grew up believing that self-criticism motivates us, that if we're too kind to ourselves, we'll get lazy and stop trying. But research shows the opposite. Self-criticism lowers motivation, increases stress, leads to fear of failure, and causes us to avoid new challenges. Self-compassion, on the other hand, helps us bounce back from failure, make more balanced decisions, stay motivated in the long run, and take better care of our health. You deserve kind words. It may sound cliché, but many of us need to hear this. You deserve kind words. Even from yourself. Especially from yourself. Think about it. You spend 24/7 with yourself. Your inner voice is the most constant one in your life. Why not make it a kind one? Pause and reflect. What does your inner voice sound like right now? A friend or a critic? A personal story. I used to be my harshest critic. If I made a mistake at work, I'd mentally beat myself up for hours. If a relationship fell apart, I blamed myself completely. My inner voice was merciless. The turning point came when a friend shared similar struggles with me. I instinctively comforted her, told her she was being too hard on herself, that everyone makes mistakes. And then it hit me. Why was I saying one thing to her and something entirely different to myself? From that day on, I began using what I now call the friend test. Every time I caught myself in self-criticism, I asked, "What would I say to a friend?" And then I said that to myself. Practical ways to practice. There are a few simple techniques you can start using right away. One is to write a letter. Not to yourself, but to an imaginary friend going through exactly what you're feeling. Describe the situation with empathy. Offer comfort. Give gentle advice. Then read the letter again, this time imagining it was written for you. Another technique is shifting perspective. When your inner critic shows up, pause and ask, "If my friend felt this way about herself, what would I tell her?" Then say that to yourself, either silently or out loud. A third way is to create a small daily ritual. In the morning or evening, ask yourself, "What do I need to hear today?" Then answer as if you were speaking to a friend you care about deeply. Self-compassion versus self-pity. It's important to understand the difference. Self-compassion is not self-pity. Self-pity is passive and makes us feel like victims. Self-compassion is active. It gives us strength to move forward. Self-pity. Poor me, everything's awful and nothing can change. Self-compassion. This is really hard right now and that's okay. What can I do to take care of myself? Self-compassion acknowledges pain but doesn't get stuck in it. It offers support while encouraging action. How to change your inner dialogue. Changing your inner voice takes time. The first step is awareness. Start noticing when your inner critic shows up. Then pause. Don't let those thoughts spiral. Stop and take a deep breath. After the pause, ask yourself the key question. What would I say to a friend? That's your anchor to compassion. If possible, speak the words out loud. It makes them feel more real. And remember, like any skill, self-compassion requires regular practice. The science of self-compassion. Dr. Kristin Neff, a leading researcher in the field of self-compassion, highlights 3 important components. The first is self-kindness, the ability to treat yourself with understanding instead of harsh judgment. The second component is recognizing common humanity, the understanding that suffering and failure are part of every person's life, not a personal flaw. The third element is mindfulness, the ability to accept painful feelings without suppressing or exaggerating them. Self-compassion in relationships. Interestingly, people who are kind to themselves are often better at supporting others. They don't burn out emotionally because they know how to replenish their own energy. When you stop being your own enemy, you have more energy to be a good friend to others. What if it feels weird? Many people find it awkward at first to say kind things to themselves. That's normal. We're used to a certain way of talking to ourselves. Start small. Even if the words feel fake at first, keep practicing. Over time, your brain will adapt to the new pattern. Remember, you're not lying to yourself or ignoring problems. You're simply changing the way you speak to yourself about those problems. When you do need professional help, self-compassion is a powerful tool, but it doesn't replace therapy in serious cases. Reach out to a specialist if negative thoughts about yourself become overwhelming. If you can't cope with daily tasks, if you have thoughts of self-harm, or if problems significantly affect your work, relationships, or health, self-compassion can be a great complement to therapy, but not a replacement in critical situations. Conclusion: your inner voice can be your best ally or your worst enemy. The choice is yours. A simple question, "What would I say to a friend?" can radically change your attitude toward yourself. It reminds us that we deserve the same kindness we so easily give to others. Start today. The next time you catch yourself in self-criticism, pause and ask, "What would I say to a friend in this situation?" Then say it to yourself. You deserve kind words. You deserve support. You deserve compassion, especially from yourself. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who might also need a reminder about the importance of kindness toward themselves. And in the comments, tell us, is it easy for you to be kind to yourself? Or is it still a challenge? Let's support each other in developing this important skill. Remember, self-compassion is a skill that develops with practice. Be patient with yourself as you learn it.